Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. My name is Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us again. And the headlines: Ex-Minister Nnaji says his resignation is not admission of guilt. Federal government admonishes immigration personnel on customer service. Federal government launches tough measures against food safety violators. Army troops neutralize 9 terrorists and rescue 37 kidnapped victims. Governor Mba advises Ndibo to move beyond personality-driven business models. LASMA arrests fake officer for extorting motorists in Lagos. On business news, World Bank dismisses Nigeria's single-digit inflation target. CBN insists on implementing monetary policies for stable economy. On the foreign scene, hundreds of U.S. National Guard troops arrive in Chicago. Hamas and Israel enter a third day of Gaza peace talks. And sports, UFC star McGregor suspended 18 months over missed drug tests. And England, Portugal, and Norway closing on 2026 World Cup. Now the news. The Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Mr. Jeffrey Uche Nnaji, says his resignation from President Bola Tinubu's cabinet is not an admission of guilt but a personal choice. The minister, who was appointed in August 2023, announced his resignation in a letter to the president, expressing appreciation for the opportunity to serve. Mr. Nnaji, who resigned amidst controversies surrounding allegations of certificate forgery, noted that over the past week, an orchestrated, sustained campaign of falsehood, politically motivated and malicious attacks was waged against him across print, electronic, and social media platforms. He said these unfounded allegations and media distortions not only caused personal distress but also distracted him from work. According to him, he put in 5 decades building a reputation anchored on hard work, honor, and service to humanity. He said he could not in good conscience allow these distortions to cast a shadow over the noble objectives of the present administration. Mr. Nnaji expressed optimism that in the end, justice will vindicate the just. The federal government has charged personnel of the Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) to continue to offer excellent services to its client, declaring that efficient customer service is a right and not a privilege. Comptroller General of the Immigration Service (CGIS) Kemi Nandab gave the charge in Abuja when she declared open the 2025 Servicom Customer Service Week. She assured that the service is on an irreversible path of reform, modernization, and improved transparency in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. CGIS Nandab noted that the week-long event themed Mission Possible with the NIS sub-theme meeting and exceeding expectations was an opportunity for officers to recommit themselves to the principle of courtesy, timelines, and citizen-centered service delivery. The Comptroller General recalled that on assuming office in 2025, she had raised concerns over negative practices that dented the service's image and challenged officers to go back to the drawing board. That directive, she said, resulted in far-reaching reforms, including the passport automation and contactless processing system, designed to minimize physical interaction and eliminate bottlenecks. She went further to urge NIS personnel nationwide to use the 2025 Customer Service Week as an opportunity to recommit themselves to exceeding public expectations. The CGIS particularly charged officers to uphold the service's reputation at all times. She further praised President Bola Tinubu and the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, saying the reforms component of the Renewed Hope agenda has significantly curbed corruption amongst officers and improved professionalism across the service. Earlier, Special Assistant to the CGIS on Servicom and Reform Champion Barrister Muhammad Awal Abubakar, a Deputy Comptroller of Immigration, described the Customer Service Week as a call to reflection, action, and renewal. He emphasized that the global theme Mission Possible challenges public institutions to see obstacles as opportunities for innovation rather than excuses for inefficiency. The 2025 NIS Servicom Customer Service Week will feature activities across commands and formations nationwide, highlighting innovation, best practices, and service ongoing transformation agenda. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) has warned that defaulters and operators of forced ripening of fruits, adulterated palm oil, contaminated meat and grains will not go scot-free, as they will be made to face the full wrath of the law. The Commission's Executive Vice Chairman, Mr. Olatunji Bello, dropped the warning during a one-day sensitization campaign on food quality standards, safety, regulation and fair business practices in Kano. Mr. Bello, represented by his Director of Quality Assurance and Development, Dr. Nkechi Mba, said the practice not only endanger the lives of millions of Nigerians, but they also erode consumer trust and sabotage the integrity of the food systems. He called on the defaulters to refrain from harmful practices while calling on the consumers to be vigilant, be informed and demand the standards they deserve. According to the Vice Chairman, many vendors and producers still engage in the forceful ripening of fruits using harmful chemicals such as calcium carbide, which contains trace amounts of arsenic and phosphorus, both highly toxic to humans. He added that there are also cases of food adulteration through the use of dangerous additives and preservatives like bromate, Sudan red colorant, sniper, and formalin, amongst others. Further observed that improper handling and contamination persist across the food value chain from farm to table, citing poor storage conditions, unhygienic environments, improper waste disposal, and the exposure of foodstuffs to flies, insects, and rodents. The Vice Chairman reaffirmed that as Nigeria's apex consumer protection body, FCCPC has a statutory mandate to promote consumer interests, ensure fair market practices, and prevent exploitative or dangerous conduct across all sectors of the economy, including the food and agricultural sector. He warned all stakeholders in the food sector to desist from using harmful substances in food processing and to strictly observe hygiene and safety protocols at every stage of their operations. He also advised them to ensure proper labeling and packaging of food products in accordance with national and international standards. In addition, the Vice Chairman called on producers and vendors to respect consumer rights and to avoid engaging in deceptive or unfair business practices. The Commission's Executive Vice Chairman, however, stated that any operator who places profit over public safety will face the full wrath of the law. Troops of the Nigerian Army have neutralized 9 terrorists, apprehended 8 suspects, and rescued 37 kidnapped victims in a series of coordinated operations conducted across different theaters of operation nationwide. A credible source at the Army headquarters disclosed this to news reporters, noting that the troops also recovered a significant cache of arms, ammunition, and logistic supplies during the operation. According to the source, troops of the 151 Task Force Battalion successfully ambushed a swap and JAS terrorists at Dipchari in Bama local government area of Borno State, killing 5 insurgents and recovering their weapons. Similarly, troops of the 148 Battalion operating along the Ekiti-Kogi border neutralized 2 insurgents and seized 2 AK-47 rifles. In a separate encounter, troops of the 3rd Battalion repelled a major attack on their base, killing 1 terrorist and forcing several others to flee with gunshot wounds. In the South-South region, the source revealed that troops of the 34 Artillery Brigade and Operation Delta Safe uncovered and destroyed multiple illegal oil refining sites in Imo State. The operation led to the seizure of over 20,000 liters of stolen crude oil and refined products, disrupting the activities of oil thieves and protecting the nation's economic resources. The source added that the Army headquarters had commended the cooperation between the military, or the security agencies, and local vigilante groups, describing their synergy as vital to recent operational successes. He reaffirmed the Nigerian Army's unwavering commitment to safeguarding the nation, restoring peace, and supporting both economic and agricultural stability in line with the federal government's food security agenda. Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State has advised Ndigbo to move beyond personality-driven business model towards structured multi-generational institutions. While officially commissioning the Enugu office of Afro-Invest West Africa Limited, the governor, represented by his deputy, Mr. Ifeanyi Osai, emphasized the need to make businesses endure from one generation to another. The opening ushers in 30 years of experience in investment banking, asset management, and securities trading to the state. The governor stated that the Igbo must embrace structures that would ensure their businesses outlive the founders in order to grow and sustain the economy of the Southeast region. Governor Mba described Afrinvest's arrival as timely and transformational, emphasizing that the company's range of services will strengthen Enugu's investment ecosystem. He urged Afrinvest to help local entrepreneurs move beyond personality-driven business models towards structured multi-generational institutions. The group's managing director of Afrinvest, Dr. Uche Nnaji, said the firm had long considered expanding to Enugu but found the right environment under the Mba administration. He explained that Afrinvest will bring its broad experience in investment banking, asset management, securities trading, trusteeship, consulting, research, fintech, and microfinance to help businesses in Enugu grow sustainably. Dr. Nnaji noted that many successful Igbo-owned enterprises collapsed after the founder's demise due to weak governance structure. Adding that the decision to open the Enugu office was a broad decision, he expressed confidence that it will benefit the people of Enugu State. The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, has apprehended a 47-year-old man identified as Mr. Adetayo Adewodun for impersonating as LASMA officer and extorting 7,800 naira from a motorist around the Itire Junction area of Lagos State. The agency disclosed this in a statement issued on Wednesday by its Director of Public Affairs, Adebayo Taufik. According to the statement, the suspect stopped one Mr. Anyano Stephen, driver of a white Hilux vehicle belonging to a construction company, accusing him of making an illegal turn. Pretending to be a LASMA operative, Adewodu demanded 80,000 naira as a penalty but later collected 7,800 naira from the motorist. The motorist, however, became suspicious and contacted LASMA through his toll-free hotline to confirm the officer's identity. Acting on the report, LASMA Surveillance and Intelligence Unit, on the directive of its general manager, Mr. Olalekan Bakare Oki, swiftly moved to the scene, apprehended the suspect and took him to the agency's headquarters in Oshodi for interrogation. Investigations revealed that the suspect was part of a three-man syndicate that posed as LASMA officers to extort motorists around the Itire axis. Adewodu confessed that the group made an average of 65,000 naira daily through such fraudulent activities. The general manager, Mr. Bakare Oki, commended the motorist for his vigilance and timely report, describing it as an act of civic responsibility. He reiterated LASMA's commitment to professionalism, transparency, and zero tolerance for impersonation and extortion. Mr. Bakare Oki reminded the public that genuine LASMA officials can be identified by their official uniforms, name tags, and service identification numbers. He urged motorists to report any suspicious activity through the agency's verified communication channels, assuring prompt response and action. He appealed to Lagosians, particularly motorists, to remain vigilant and promptly report any suspicious enforcement activity or impersonation attempts through the agency's verified communications channels. ComfortTV.channel's news returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is ComfortTV.channel news. On business news, the World Bank has said the federal government's ambition to achieve single-digit inflation in the short term is unrealistic, warning that Nigeria remains among a handful of African countries still grappling with high consumer price inflation. In its latest Africa Pulse report, the bank projected that Nigeria, alongside Angola, Ethiopia, Ghana, Malawi, Sudan, Zambia, Sao Tome and Principe, and Zimbabwe, will continue to record double-digit inflation rates through 2025. The report revealed that while 37 of Africa's 47 economies are projected to maintain single-digit inflation by 2026, Nigeria remains an outlier due to persistent structural challenges, including currency depreciation, high food and energy prices, and supply bottlenecks that continue to fuel price instability. The development contradicts the projection and undermines the federal government's optimism that its recent fiscal and monetary reforms, including the FX unification, fuel subsidy removal, and the central bank's tightening measures would quickly drive inflation down to single digits. Key government officials in the current administration, including the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the economy, Mr. Wale Edun, and the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, have repeatedly assured Nigerians that ongoing fiscal and monetary reforms would help bring inflation down to single digits in the near term. At the CBN Governor's annual lecture series at the Lagos Business School held last week in Lagos, the CBN Governor said a single-digit inflation rate remains its medium-term target. The insistence stems from an argument by some research organizations that the National Bureau of Statistics data, which put the country's headline inflation at 20.12%, overestimates the general price level. Economists have attributed Nigeria's price pressure to a combination of currency depreciation. With more than half of sub-Saharan African nations expected to maintain inflation rates below 5% next year, Nigeria's double-digit figure stands out as an anomaly on the continent. South Africa, Senegal, Tanzania have all managed to anchor inflation within single digits, aided by disciplined fiscal policies and efficient foreign exchange management. Still on business, Central Bank of Nigeria has said that its commitment to implementation of monetary policies and reforms introduced by President Tinubu will bring price and monetary stability needed to grow the economy. Hardship associated with rising inflation and unstable monetary policies have confronted the nation for a long time. Speaking in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State capital, the CBN Governor Mr. Olayemi Cardoso said some of the monetary policies of the bank have yielded positive results as manifested in the steady ease of inflation and current stability in the foreign exchange market. Cardoso, who was represented by AG Director Corporate Communications Department CBN Mrs. Hakama Sidi Ali, disclosed that the exchange rate unification policy put in place has not just reduced volatility in the foreign exchange market, but had cleared over $7 billion of verified backlog of forex forwards. According to him, the B-match system for forex trading has strengthened market integrity and facilitated better price discovery, adding that the initiative was expected to improve uniformity in trading and ensure seamless operations among market participants. The CBN governor explained that the CBN fair was to sensitize the public on the bank's policies, enhance their lives and livelihood, and contribute to the growth and development of the Nigerian economy. On the foreign scene, hundreds of National Guard troops from Texas have arrived at an army training center outside Chicago to support U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. President Trump had branded Chicago a war zone following recent protests against federal immigration officials in the third largest U.S. city. The deployment comes amid opposition from local officials. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has accused the Trump administration of an authoritarian march and said the state will use every lever at its disposal to stop the power grab. CBS also reported that trailers have been set up as temporary living quarters on the Army Reserve Training Center about 50 miles 80 kilometers southwest of Chicago. Fencing was also put up around training facility late on Tuesday. President Trump argues the use of the troops is necessary to quell violence in Democratic-controlled cities, crack down on crime, and support his deportation initiatives. The president has already sent Guard members into Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., and has ordered them to enter Memphis and Portland. A federal judge temporarily barred troops from deploying to Portland. However, another judge has allowed the Chicago deployment for now. Chicago has seen an increase in protests over immigration enforcement in the city, many of them happening outside U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement ICE facilities. Still on the foreign scene, Israel and Hamas entered the third day of peace talks at an Egyptian resort on Wednesday, with more senior officials from the United States, Israel, and mediating countries expected to join, a sign that negotiators aim to tackle the toughest issues of an American plan to end the war in Gaza. Hamas says it is seeking firm guarantees from U.S. President Donald Trump and mediators that Israel will not resume its military campaign in the Palestinian territory after the militant group releases all the remaining hostages. All sides have expressed optimism for a deal to end the two-year war with tens of thousands of Palestinians killed and most of the Gaza Strip destroyed. But key parts of the peace plan have still not been pinned down, including requirements that Hamas disarm, Qatar's Prime Minister and top diplomat Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani has headed to the Egyptian coastal city of Sharm el-Sheikh to join the talks. As Qatari, Egyptian and U.S. mediators met with both sides in preliminary talks on Wednesday morning, a senior Hamas official, Tahar Nunu, said the group has exchanged a list of Palestinian prisoners it seeks to release in return for Israeli hostages under the deal's terms. The plan calls for an immediate ceasefire and release of the 48 hostages that militants in Gaza still hold from the October 17, 2023 surprise attack on Israel that started the war and triggered Israel's devastating retaliation. Around 20 of the hostages are believed to still be alive. On sports, mixed martial arts star Conor McGregor has been issued an 18-month suspension after missing 3 drug tests in a 12-month period. Combat Sports Anti-Doping CSAD said in a statement that the Irishman, who is a former Ultimate Fighting Championship featherweight and lightweight champion, has accepted the suspension. CSAD said McGregor, one of the UFC's most bankable fighters, missed 3 tests on June 13, September 19, and September 20 last year in the breach of anti-doping whereabout protocols. The agency said McGregor had fully cooperated with his investigation, accepted responsibility, and provided information that helped explain why he had missed tests. The body reduced McGregor's punishment from the standard period of 2 years to 18 months, backdating the suspension start date to September 2024. McGregor will be free to fight again by March 20 next year, potentially leaving him free to fight at the UFC event scheduled to take place on June 14 at the White House next year to coincide with U.S. President Donald Trump's birthday. The MMA star has repeatedly indicated he hopes to fight on the White House card, although UFC Chief Executive Dana White said on Saturday that no fighters have yet been signed. Still on sports, England and Portugal are in pole position to win their respective 2026 World Cup qualifying groups with 2 games to spare, with several other European nations also hoping to secure berths at the finals in the upcoming matches. Norway may also be only 1 victory away from reaching the tournament for the first time since 1998, which would leave Italy starting at a 3rd successive World Cup watching from the sidelines. Thomas Tuchel's England laid down a marker last month with an impressive 5-0 thrashing of Serbia in Belgrade and are yet to concede a goal in 5 qualifiers. They are not in Group K action until Tuesday, when a victory over Latvia in Riga will secure a place at next year's finals in the United States, Mexico and Canada, if Serbia do not beat Albania on Saturday. England boasts a 7-point lead over Albania with 3 matches to play, with Serbia a point further back but with a game in hand. Several players who were not previously considered first choice and starred in Serbia, including leading Tuchel to leave out big names Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden and Jack Grealish from his latest squad. Serbia's clash with Albania could prove crucial in deciding which team finishes second and goes into the playoffs. Portugal's racked up 8 goals in their first 2 qualifiers in September and will likely need just 2 more wins over this international break to wrap up top spot in Group F. And that's our news bulletin for today. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Ex-Minister Nnaji says his resignation is not admission of guilt. Federal government admonishes immigration personnel on customer service. Federal government launches tough measures against food safety violators. Army troops neutralize 9 terrorists and rescue 37 kidnapped victims. Governor Mba advises Indigbo to move beyond personality-driven business models. LASMA arrests fake officer for extorted motorist in Lagos. On business, World Bank dismisses Nigeria's single-digit inflation target. On a foreign scene, hundreds of U.S. National Guard troops arrive in Chicago. And on sports, UFC star McGregor suspended 18 months over missed drug tests. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. I am Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.